"What are you doing here at night?" But she did not respond and kept looking at the rice field.
Oh, f that! Grandma! Ghost, you ready to throw or what? What's up, guys? Welcome back to another horror story animation. Today we're gonna be looking at some scary stories. You guys seem to love these. Like I said, we're Mike and Anthony. Today we're gonna be looking at some horror animations. We don't make these scary at the most. I wish we made them scarier, but we just ready to throw anytime we get a chance.
What? How do we make them scary? This isn't our stories.
No, we don't make it scary. I mean, we don't get scared. Don't think about it too hard. Are you ready to throw for some new people to throw with?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, let's
go.
I'm ready to
throw
throw.
One night, me and my two best friends, who I'll call Tim and Phil for this video, were staying at Tim's room in the hotel while our parents were in the hotel restaurant. The room wasn't bad. Actually, all of our rooms seemed safe. At least we thought it was.
Not that bad.
We were having a lot of fun watching Simpsons and playing Monopoly, but what happened that night still makes me have chills. So it was around 1 a.m. and our parents were late. Phil looked at them through the window and said, "They're still in that stupid restaurant." "Yeah, they told us they'll come back until 11 p.m. I answered. Guys? Someone is knocking on the door," Tim said. "It's probably just room service," Phil said. Can we not open the door?" I said. I was pretty scared in that situation. I was only 10, and my friends were only 2 and 3 years older than me.
Oh, I thought he said his friends were only 2.
Yeah, I was about to say
I was like, damn, those are some educated 2 to 3 year olds right there.
Tim, who was the oldest, answered, "Oh, come on, it's just room service." The guy on the other side of the door said,
"Hello. Can you please open the door?"
When he said that, we were all scared.
Can you please
In
open
a couple
the
of
door?
minutes of silence, he said,
Could be some
in
guy
another
that forgot his
voice,
room key or
"Open the goddamn door!"
Okay, never mind.
I started crying
No,
because
it's his
I knew he was in room service, because if he was, he would have talked in Turkish. I was in shock as in that moment I realized that this strange guy is using a fake ID card to open the door. Tim grabbed both of us and we ran to the bathroom and locked the door. Luckily, the guy wasn't fast to get us. He was screaming to open the door.
Dude, what is
I
this?
said,
What the
"Look, a phone!" Luckily, Tim's mom left her phone so we could call her if we needed anything. So Phil grabbed the phone and called his dad and told them the situation. And they came up to find the guy nowhere. They thought we were lying to them until the hotel manager showed them the footage. We found out that the man was stalking us and a couple other children. In a couple of days, police had finally caught him. He was a serial rapist and a pedophile.
What the
We were
shit.
just lucky he wasn't fast to get us. I will never forget that night, as that was the worst day of my life.
How the f you
That's
get
wild.
in?
And what the hell?
Alright, I thought it was just like a
Yeah, I thought it was a fucking random dude, like a robber. or something,
miscommunication here, but what the f?
My mother went out
This
shopping
shit hella
and left me in
scary.
charge of the house. It was starting to get dark and I realized my little brother was nowhere to be found. I asked my sister if she knew where he was and she said he had gone to the park around the corner to kick his soccer ball around. I told her to watch the house while I was gone and ran off to the direction of the park. When I got there, I was surprised to find the park completely empty. I called out my brother's name, but there was no answer. I started to get worried, and all of a sudden I heard a faint muffled noise coming from my left. I turned just in time to see a tall figure disappearing behind a large fence. I sprinted as fast as I could. When I came around to the other side of the fence, I saw something that almost made me choke in horror.
Ricardo's Milos.
What the f?
My brother was being dragged down the alleyway by a tall man. I flew into a rage and tears of anger streamed down my face. I ran at him and he must have heard me coming because he turned around to face me and he dropped my younger brother. The tall man tried to grab me, but I was running at him so fast that when I slammed into him, it knocked him off his feet.
Yo, I'm ready to throw. Let's
I'd
go.
throw so hard. I'd be like, yo, what's good?
Started
Hit it,
stomping
boy.
in his
What's
face
good?
Without stopping to ask questions, I picked my brother up and ran as fast as I could back to our house.
Maybe your brother was sick and
By
the
this
guy was trying
time,
to
it was
help.
pitch black outside and my mother was home. She was frantic with worry, and when she saw the look on our face, she realized that something bad had happened. As I explained, my brother and I started crying, and my mom gave us both the biggest hug ever, and she cried with us. Eventually, the police were called, but this guy was never found.
Oh, thank God he got the ball. Now I can ready throw.
Why is it always the same guy?
Hey, why do they all look like an anime character?
When I was a junior high school student. One morning during summer vacation,
Dude, he's just trying
after
to
my
give you
father
superpowers.
went to work, my mother and I
Shazam!
decided to visit my maternal grandmother, who lived in a rural area. Since my grandmother's house was located in the countryside, getting there required making a left turn, then driving for 5 minutes through a narrow, one-car-wide, unpaved road. There were rice fields and forest on the sides of the unpaved road. As soon as we arrived, I greeted my grandmother, then went into my youngest uncle's room. I used to like visiting my grandmother's house because my uncle was a huge gaming fan and his computer was much better than mine at home. So once I confirmed my uncle was at work, I turned on his computer and started playing Doom 3.
Oh, I
which
love
used
that
to
game.
be the most
Yeah.
popular game
All right, what
once
the hell?
upon a time. After playing the game for about an hour or two, my uncle returned from work. Upon his arrival, my grandmother asked him to take her grocery shopping, since my mother, my aunt, and I were visiting her house. So at about 7 p.m., they all drove to town to do some grocery shopping. I
Oh,
was
Home
super excited
Alone.
and waved
With
goodbye to
your
them.
with your favorite uncle.
Yo, who's ready to throw?
I'll just leave it. After enjoying about 90 minutes of free time, my uncle called. He said he was about to turn left on the road, but one of the front wheels was punctured, and asked me to bring him a new tire which was in the storage shed. As I said before, after making that left turn, it took about 5 minutes to drive through a narrow, unpaved single-lane road to see my grandmother's house, but it took about 20 to 30 minutes on foot. Now that I think about it, it was quite scary to walk on that road, especially at night. It had no streetlights and was surrounded by rice fields and forest.
Wow.
It was almost 9 p.m., and that area got quite dark at about 8 because it was in the country. So to be honest, I was really scared, but not wanting anyone to know I was a coward, I decided to go. I grabbed the tire, left the house, and started walking along the unpaved road. I could see my uncle shining his car's headlights toward me. That said, he was still quite far away from me, and the headlights looked like two big yellow dots. I was a bit relieved knowing my uncle and family were on the other end of this road, but the night was dark, which deepened my fear. You know, when you walk in the darkness, your eyes adjust, and you start to...
Oh, f that. F that.
I felt like I
No.
could see someone standing in the rice field, and someone sitting down, resting his chin on his hands, and looking at me through the bushes.
It's a
I
tree.
broke out in a cold sweat and held my legs to keep them from shaking. It felt scarier than being alone on a pitch-dark night.
It's not even that
And
scary.
because of the fear and the delusion I had created, I remember feeling really dizzy. After walking for about 20 minutes, I looked towards my uncle's car and realized I was nearly there. Feeling happier, I rolled the tire faster. I rushed to hand over the tire to him as soon as possible, but saw something in front of me. I wasn't sure what it was.
What the f
because
is
it was still
that?
a bit away from me, but it was something dark. Suddenly, I felt strange and slowed down. Since I wanted to determine what it was while still having some distance, I strained my head and neck trying to look carefully, but it was too dark.
What the f-
Although I was scared, I started to walk again, thinking nothing is going to happen because I have my uncle and family about 300 meters away.
is that?
But when I got closer to it, I stopped because it became clearly visible. It was an old woman squatting with her mouth open, looking at the rice fields. I could only see the side of her face, but my whole body shivered because her blank facial expression with her mouth open was now clearly visible in the darkness. Without realizing it, I walked really close to the old woman for reasons I don't understand. Walking by without saying anything seemed even scarier, so I started talking to her. With a frightened voice, I asked, "Excuse me, what are you doing here at night?" But she did not respond and kept looking at the rice field.
Oh, that!
On the verge
Grandma!
of crying, I
Ghost,
shouted,
you ready to throw or what?
"Excuse me." She then
Oh,
looked at me,
that shit.
and I
Oh,
felt my
hell
heart
no.
tighten.
Hell no.
Even though it was dark, I could clearly see she had permed white hair, and I could only see the white parts of her eyes. The scariest thing were the huge wrinkles and stains covering her face
Oh my
and
god.
her wide open
Damn,
mouth.
Grandma, chill.
I felt
Chill.
strange, like I was going crazy while looking at her. I had eye contact,
Yo.
but was looking down while she was looking up at me. After a few moments of eye contact, she turned her body toward me. Oh my gosh, I thought she was
I would
sitting
literally
down.
boom
I
in the
realized
face.
she had no lower body. She
Bullshit.
only had a torso and head which was supported
what
from
the
the ground with 2 arms. A flood of thoughts crossed my mind, but I remember thinking, there is Satan right in front of me.
There's
Oh my god.
I felt like she was going to run into me with her 2 arms if I didn't move, so I grabbed the tire in my arms and sprinted with my eyes closed tightly. Without remembering how long I'd been running, I suddenly felt relieved. It was the next morning, and I was in my grandmother's room. When I asked my mother what happened, she said she was waiting for me in the car and saw me sprinting with my head down, holding the tire in my arms, and suddenly fell off the road, causing my family to come out of the car shocked. After listening to my mother, I told her and my other family members what I went through. Thinking I had suffered a heat stroke, that evening my grandmother made me chicken soup. My uncle told me to stop playing horror games and wouldn't let me play Doom 3 anymore.
pussy.
Pussy.
I could only play a Star Wars racing game while staying at my grandmother's house.
Pussy.
I
mean
still
that shit
believe
moved?
it was not a ghost that I saw that day. It was just an illusion caused by my mental weakness.
Or pussy. That's a little weird.
That's a creepy as.
Yeah,
What the
that's a
hell?
little weird. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's a little scary.
Imagine that shit running towards you.
I get a baseball bat swing.
Batter up, bitch.
You had to like batter up, mother.
My 3-year-old son and I moved to a house from our apartment. It was a very old building, and the inside of the house always seemed to be just a little darker and just a little colder than it should have been.
Okay.
Not long after we moved in, a friend of mine came to visit. The whole time we were sitting and talking, she seemed very uncomfortable. When I looked at her face, I noticed that something in the other room had caught her attention. Her eyes grew wide and she said, "I have to go." I asked her what was wrong, but she refused to tell me.
What the f?
Her odd reaction was freaking me out, so I kept after her. On her way out the door, she finally blurted out, "This house is haunted." But she wouldn't tell me what it was
What the f?
or
Why
what
not?
made her think so. To this day, she still refuses to tell me what she saw. About a week later, my 3-year-old son casually asked me who the old lady in the bathroom was. One day, I was leaving my house for work, and I got to the car and I realized I needed to run back in the house to get something. I walked into the house, and as soon as I got inside, this framed photo on the wall shot off the wall.
Yo, Ghost, you ready to throw or what?
It shot horizontally away from the wall.
Bro, I
and
would have
it
been like,
landed on a
all right,
mosaic
holy water
table
on my
with
knuckles. Let's get
enough
this.
force
get
to
this.
break some of the
Holy
tiles
knuckles,
off
let's
of
go.
it. I felt
Holy
like
knuckles.
whatever
Looking with
was
the
in the
cross,
house
dipping
was
in
Yeah.
water. Like, let's Get this,
and that I
boys.
came back in after it thought I had left for the day. After living in the house for about 6 months, I noticed a weird square cut into the boards on the deck. There was no handle, but I was able to pry it up. The hole was just big enough to fit through, and there was a ladder going down. For some reason, I went down and I found myself in what looked like a homemade basement. It was basically just a room dug out of the earth, with no constructed walls or stone supports or anything like that. It was very dark, but I could see something over in the corner. It was a suspicious looking stone.
Oh,
It looked
that.
like one of those old headstones you see in cemeteries. Just then, some insects started jumping on me, so I got out of the basement as fast as I could and never went back. Now this is the part that affected me the most.
Wait, what?
It's also the reason we left the house.
Oh, yeah.
One night I was in bed laying on my
So you wouldn't leave the
stomach
house
just
with
about to fall
something
asleep,
buried down
and I
there?
heard someone walk into my room. The footsteps came from the doorway over to my bed. I didn't realize
What?
until later that the fact that I heard the footsteps was weird because the room was carpeted. When the footsteps reached my bed, I felt someone put their hands on my back. 2 hands, just gently laid flat on my back and kept me there. I assumed it was my son.
Full ghost wants some dick.
"What are you doing?" I asked. But there was no answer. I looked up. No one was there. I got up and checked my son's bedroom, and he was in bed fast asleep. We moved out soon after that, and we never looked back.
That.
I would dip. I would dip.
Yeah. That. Unless that lady is ready to like
Trying to throw?
make out or throw,
Bro,
you pick.
Knuckles. Let's go. Boom.
Alright guys, we're gonna end it there. Hopefully you guys enjoy these scary animations. Which one did you love the most? Let us know down in the comments. All I gotta say, Ghost Lady,
Trying to throw.
like, you ready to get in bed or ready to throw? You pick. Let's
Trying
go.
to throw? Let's throw. Holy Knuckles and shit.
Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy these horror stories. If you guys want to see us react to more horror stories, let us know down in the comments. Can we get 2,000 likes? Another horror stories coming your way. We will see you guys then. So like always,